Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. With this beautiful thought, let's restart with the lesson Rise of Nationalism in Europe. In the previous unit, we learned the making of Germany, Italy, and Britain. For the unification of Germany, Prussia took the initiative under the leadership of Otto von Bismarck, the chief architect. With the help of army and bureaucracy, 3 wars against Austria, Denmark, and France ended in Prussian victory. And in January 1871, Prussian King William I was declared the Emperor of newly unified Germany. About Italy, we had learned that how it was politically fragmented. It was divided into 7 states under different dynastic empires. And among all these states, only one state was ruled by Italian princely house under the leadership of Victor Emmanuel II. Now we have also learned for unifying Italy, there was a major role of 3 persons. Giuseppe Mazzini, who was the Italian revolutionary, Count Cavour, who had engineered himself a tactful alliance with France, and Giuseppe Garibaldi, who was known as the most celebrated Italian freedom fighter. With the hard work of all these 3 persons, Italy was unified. And in the year 1861, Victor Emmanuel II was declared to be the Emperor of unified Italy. We have also learnt about Britain, that how it became the true model of the nation state. With the help of English Parliament, with the help of Act of Union, with the methods of suppression, and with propagation of English culture, they was able to successfully form a nation state. Today we shall be learning the last 2 units of ours, visualizing the nation and nationalism and imperialism. Let's start with visualizing the nation. In the beginning of the chapter only, we learnt about the French artist Frédéric Choureau, who wanted to awaken people to come and stand together for unity, for a common cause, for attaining brotherhood. Artists in the 18th and 19th century, they were finding a way to personify the nation as if they were a person. Since then, female figures were used to portray the nations, and thus female figures they became the allegories of the nation. Here allegory means the abstract ideas such as envy, freedom, justice, liberty, when they are expressed through a person or a thing. Yesterday we also remember about French Revolution, that in French Revolution the artists used to use several symbols. Female figures were used to show liberty, justice and republic. The broken chain, the red cap, they were the signs of liberty and freedom. We also remember a blindfolded woman who were carrying a pair of weighing scales, so that was meant for justice. In India also, the allegory used is Bharat Mata to personify the nation, as well as the chakra in the national flag, that is also an allegory. The female allegories were invented by the artist in the 19th century to represent the nation. In France, she was Christine Marianne, which is a popular Christian name, and which signifies that it's people's nation. She signifies the characteristics of liberty and republic by wearing red cap, the tricolor and the coquille. Even her statues were erected on the public squares to remind public to maintain national unity. Even the Marian images were marked on coins and stamps. Similarly, in German nation, Germania became the allegory of the nation, and she was wearing a crown of oak leaves, which stands for heroism. Thus we have learned to awaken the people of the country to be united and have a sense of collective belonging. Artists had a major role. Now let's start with the next unit of ours, which is the last unit, nationalism and imperialism. Nationalism means showing love or having a feeling of pride towards one's own country, or having a patriotic feeling towards one's country. Now the meaning of imperialism. Imperialism means when a very powerful countries, when they want to conquer over less powerful countries by establishing colonies over there, by exploiting resources over there, so that process is known to be as imperialism. Now children, we know it that in European countries, when this process of industrialization started, with the growth of power, wealth and importance, they wanted to influence over the less powerful countries. They wanted such countries where their ready-made items could be sold. They also wanted raw resources. They also wanted cheap laborers where they could make these cheap laborers to work over their factories. So this process that came to be known as imperialism. Let's study it through the example of India. In India also, these Europeans, they came as traders. The Dutch, the Portuguese, the French, the English. Yes children, they came as traders and there was a competition among themselves only, between these Europeans only, to occupy the whole of India. And at the last, with the wars, it was the Britishers, those who could remain in India for around 200 years. So thus, India also became colonized under this European powers. By the last quarter of 19th century, nationalism no longer remained in its idealistic, liberal, democratic sentiments. Rather, the principle for which it was known for, that also became limited. The nationalist groups, they were even intolerant of each other. They were ever ready to war against each other. Now the major European powers, they wanted to fulfill their own imperialistic aims. Now let us learn all this through the example of Balkan. Children, Balkan was an area of Europe which had the most serious nationalist tension after the year 1871. Balkan was a region of geographical and ethnical variations. Means there was a variation in languages, religion, faith, custom, traditions. And it comprised the modern day Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece, Montenegro and many more children. Now the people over here, they were known as Slavs, and most of this volcanic area, they were under the control of Ottoman Empire. Now when this wave of romantic nationalism, it was spreading all over, the nationalities, the common people over here, they got inspired by it and they started revolting, they started struggling against the Ottoman Empire, and slowly the Ottoman Empire started getting disintegrated. Though Ottoman Empire also brought modernization, internal reforms also, but it was all a failure. Slowly, the Slavic nationalists, one by one, they broke away from their control and declared independence. Though the Slavic nationalists, they asserted independence from the Ottoman Empire, but now again they were on a struggle. They were struggling to get their own identity and independence. Means they wanted to show themselves as a separate unit. They started having jealous among each other. Now they wanted to gain more territories at the expense of others. That created a lot of enmity between each of these Balkanic states, which was taken as an advantage by these foreign powers. Now slowly, as they were standing as a single unit, the foreign powers, they started controlling over these Balkanic areas. And during this period, the major European powers, they also had an intense rivalry over trade, colonies, army and naval might. Now who are these major European powers, children? The Russia, England, Germany and Austro-Hungary. These were the major European powers. Now because of these rivalries, each major European powers, they wanted to hold over the whole of Balkan. For this, there was a series of wars between these major European powers, which led to the World War I. Now let us learn that what were the conditions which created World War I. Now children, as the Slavic nationalists, when they were struggling to assert their own independence, to stand as a single unit, and there were the jealousy between each others, they were taken as an advantage by the foreign powers. And there was also an intense rivalry between the major European powers. There was competition to get more and more trade, the colonies, the army and the naval might. To increase all these powers, there was a competition between these major European powers. And when this problems of Balkans was known to them, now each major European powers, they wanted to control and grab the whole of Balkanic area, and this led to series of war which created World War I. Now nationalism, which was aligned with imperialism, led Europe to disaster in 1940. Meanwhile, there were so many countries, those who were colonized by these European powers. Now these countries, they were struggling, they were coming ahead against this imperial domination. Now these struggles were called to be as nationalists. Why? Because they were struggling to form nation states. And these nation states, they were inspired by a collective national unity against imperial domination. Now the nationalism which was practiced in Europe, they were nowhere replicated. No countries had copied as the nationalism which was practiced in Europe. Each country had their own specific variety of nationalism. Thus we have learned, children, nationalism in the 19th century, it brought about a sweeping change in the moral and the political world of the Europe, which resulted into nation states in place of the multi-dynastic empires of Europe. The nation states where people experience a common identity, a common shared history. And this commonness was developed through struggles, the action of the leaders and the struggles of the common people. Now, every nation state has a single or a common language, common culture or traditions, common identity with that particular territory, and even do and die feelings. We Indians, when we stood together in unity, despite of all the differences, we were able to form a nation state. Thus, in the topic Visualizing the Nation, we learned that artists had a major role in spreading nationalism with the help of pictures, with the help of images, with the help of statues. They were able to convey messages to common people, to awaken them to stand together for unity. And then we learned that the female figures, they were used as allegories. In France, she was Christine Marie. Germania became the allegory of German nation. Thus we have learned that female figures were used to represent a nation. Then in the topic nationalism and imperialism, we learned that by the last quarter of 19th century, the nationalist groups, they were intolerant of each other. They were even ready to war against each other, which was taken as an advantage by the major European powers who were already in the competition to gain more and more territories because of their wealth, because of their power. We have also learned about an area of Europe called Balkans, those who were under the control of Ottoman Empire. And with the spread of romantic nationalism, they revolted against the Muslim dominance and got the independence. But after getting independence, they did not want to stand in a united way. They want to show themselves as separate nations, and they created even conflicts among each other, which was taken as an advantage by the foreign powers, and they got subjugated by the foreign powers. And during those times, the major European powers, they also had an intense rivalry. These European powers, they wanted to grab more and more territories. They had a competition among each other to get colonies, the trade, the army, as well as naval might. And during this competition, when they came to know about the problems in Balkans, now they wanted to control over Balkan. This led to series of war, and finally the World War I. In 1914, we also learned, children, during 19th century, when the people, when the countries, when they were opposing imperial domination, they were about to form nation states, which was accepted as natural and universal. By this, children, we have come to an end of this chapter. Hope you all have understood all the topics which has been taught. Dear students, make a habit of working on your goals and keep trying until you receive it, as failures are the stepping stones towards success.